The lesson sounded really, really interesting, and while there is certainly room for improvement, in general, I thought it was pretty interesting. This was released in 2015. It's directed and written by Ruth Platt, with a cast including Robert Hans, Evan Bendall, Tom Cox, and various others. And two badly behaved students are kidnapped by their teacher. It did sound quite fascinating. It is very, very, very slow to begin with. It took a long time to get to the point. And yes, we need a little bit of time to get to know the characters, their behaviour, but not as long as was actually executed. So the pacing could have been a lot better, but once it gets to the point, it became really good. I was really interested in the teacher as a character. I really wanted to know more about his personality, what made him tick, certainly his motivations in this situation, and there's some really good dialogue once we get to the kidnapping and the torture, and I actually feel like the dialogue in that scene, or those scenes, is really more impressive than most torture films that I've seen. There are many, many films that involve torture, and usually there's not that much dialogue in those scenes, but this one actually has quite a lot to offer, and it's really thought-provoking, and I really enjoy that. There's a brief discussion about Animal Farm, which made me laugh because I studied Animal Farm at school, and there were some people in my class who were maybe not the most respectful towards the teachers, and it just kind of pulled me further into the narrative a little bit, making it feel like this could be a reality. Hopefully not, obviously. I'm not saying I think that this should ever happen, but it made it feel, for me, a little bit more realistic. The teacher's actions are believable. I don't condone them, of course, but I can understand why he did what he did. Again, if you've ever been in a class where some students are unruly, they're noisy, they just don't care, they have no respect for the teacher, you could see what could make a teacher snap. And I believe the teacher's motivations here. I believe his actions. There's a lot of bloodshed, there's a lot of torture, and it's certainly paced really well after the fact. Once we get to the main point, everything plays out in a pacing that feels really believable. There are times when it's quite quick, there are times when it slows down and we get a little bit more thought-provoking dialogue, and I think that all flowed really, really well. We have some really good camera work and lighting. Visually, it's quite a good film. The performances are really good. After the really, really slow pacing, it really picked up, and I found it to be a really fascinating, quite intense, but also very thought-provoking narrative. The only issue is that, and it's not a huge issue really, but on Amazon Prime, it's really quiet. I had my volume turned up all the way, and it was very quiet. So if you watch it on Prime, that's worth bearing in mind that it could be quiet. If it's available on another player for you, it might be worth trying somewhere else. But that's just worth bearing in mind that for some reason on Amazon Prime, it was quite quiet. Not to the point where I couldn't hear it, but as I said, it was turned up full and I still thought it was quiet. But that and the pacing aside, great concept, well executed once we got to the point, thought-provoking, believable, and certainly something that I ultimately rather enjoyed. If the lesson sounds like a film for you, then it's one that I'd say is worth watching.